cauliflower alone is a pretty bland looking vegetable, and when I do something like this and put it into a white casserole, it looks even more so. You don't get much color there, and unless I overcook it or cook it in an alkaline medium and let it turn yellow, it's not going to look much better than that when it's done. But we can perk it up and make it look better with our eyes so that it tastes better with our mouths and our tongues too. So that's what I'm going to do today, is try and make cauliflower look better than it normally does. I like it real well, so let's see if we can get other people to like it too. Now the first thing I'm going to do is add something that's got a lot of color in it already, and that's some red pepper. Now you could also use other colors, and I've cut it in about, half-inch wide strips, and we're just going to put that in. We'll stir the whole thing together in a minute. Also to that, to give it a little bit more flavor, I've got a whole lot of garlic here. This is about 3 cloves of garlic. Now what we're doing here is creating something that will cook very quickly, because cauliflower is again one of those vegetables that if it cooks too long, first of all it gets mushy, which is not particularly enjoyable, and the sulfur flavors come up. The longer it cooks, the stronger those get, and the less people like the cauliflower. So we're going to do something in this case, which is use the microwave, and that's something that I don't do very often with the things that I do on Oklahoma Gardening, but this is an example of one of the things that works really well that way. Also to that, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And in this case, I'm using olive oil because I wanted something that, again, would add a little bit more flavor on its own. You could use whatever kind of vegetable oil you have, but if you've got something that's going to make it a little bit more exotic tasting, and olive oil will do that more than just regular vegetable oil, go ahead and use it. Also to this, I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and this is optional. If you're on a low sodium diet, feel free to leave that out. And about the same amount of ground black pepper. This we can stir together just a little bit, kind of blend it a tad, and see if we can get those placed and have some of those flavors all throughout the dish. And then we're going to put it in the microwave for about 6 minutes on high. Now again, if your microwave is more powerful or if it's less powerful, you may have to adjust the length of time. You also are probably going to open it halfway through, stir it around a little bit more, because microwaves also notoriously don't cook evenly. Hey, you may want to check it again, remember, to make sure that with your microwave you get your desired doneness. But once you have got it to that stage, there's just one more little step to go. So it's taken very little time. You end up with something that's high in nutrition because you haven't diluted the nutrients with water. That's one of the benefits with cooking with the microwave, is that you don't add a lot of water, so water-soluble nutrients are not lost in the process. The last thing we're going to do is garnish it, in this case with a little bit of fresh basil, and that will add to the flavor as well. But keep in mind, if it's the middle of winter and you don't happen to have a little bit of a window garden, you could use dried basil, probably about 1/3 the amount. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon here, so you'd add about 1/3 that amount because it's more concentrated in flavor. And it won't look quite as pretty, but it will taste good. So you can make this any time of the year because these things are available during the cool season. And it's something a little bit different that adds a little bit of pizzazz to something that's normally a little bit dull in appearance. Try it. I hope you'll enjoy it. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.